Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 15th of October. Stakes running high as Maharashtra and Haryana vote to elect new provincial government in India. UN cuts Afghanistan food rations as donations dry up. And Hurriyat collecting funds in name of OIC in India's flood-hit Jammu and Kashmir. And now for all the details. After failing to get the United Nations intervene in the Kashmir issue, Pakistan on Wednesday resumed targeting Indian posts along the border. This comes even as the Director General of Military Operations of both countries made first hotline communication ever since the tensions began.
Indian posts in Karni and Sojian sectors of Poonch along the line of control came under gunfire in the early hours of Wednesday. Indian troops also retaliated the heavy mortar shelling from Pakistan. Islamabad's aggression comes a day after the DGMOs of India and Pakistan made their first hotline communication to de-escalate the prevailing situation. More than 40,000 people were forced out of their homes after Pakistan targeting Indian security posts and civilian areas continued for over a week. A group from the UN Military Observers Group for India and Pakistan, or UNMOGIP, visited the border areas on Tuesday to assess the situation. Though Pakistan has engaged the UNMOGIP in the past in the border dispute, India has maintained that the observer group established in 1948 has outlived its utility. New Delhi on Tuesday reiterated that India will not allow a third-party intervention in the dispute.
The road to a peaceful and cooperative relationship between India and Pakistan runs from Islamabad via Lahore to New Delhi. If you divert that road to New York or elsewhere, it will not serve any purpose, because there is no place for third parties in India-Pakistan relations.
Akbaruddin said it is up to Pakistan, which began unprovoked attacks on Indian civilians, to reduce the tensions along the border.
India will not accept violence on the border or the line of control or continued terrorism against our citizens. It is up to Pakistan to de-escalate the situation, and we feel that Pakistan must take immediate steps to restore peace and tranquility along the international border and the LOC.
The United Nations had on Tuesday rejected Islamabad's plea to intervene in the Kashmir issue. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif had also tried to raise the matter with the visiting US delegation in an effort to internationalize the issue, even while it has a standing commitment with India to resolve it bilaterally.
Fazlur Rahman Khali, the founder of Pakistani-based terror outfit Harkatul Mujahideen, has said he will challenge a recent US sanction against him in the court. Khali on Tuesday asserted there was no case against him anywhere, and placing him under the specially designated nationals list was unjustified. The US Treasury Department had last month put Khali and two other Pakistanis under its terror watch list. The militant leader, who is believed to have hosted Osama bin Laden in the past, was sanctioned for his links with the Lashkar-e-Taiba and terror activities in Kashmir and Afghanistan. Harkatul Mujahideen, which is banned in countries like the US, UK, Canada and India, however, continues to operate freely in Pakistan. India's western Maharashtra and northern Haryana went to polls to elect its next government on Wednesday. The election is also seen as a test for the federal ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP, after it faced setbacks in the recent by-polls across the country.
People began queuing up outside polling booths from early hours as voting began on Wednesday. Nearly 10 million eligible voters will decide the fate of 5,468 candidates in the two provinces. Western Maharashtra is seeing a five-faced battle between the Congress Party, its former ally the Nationalist Congress Party, the BJP, its recently split alliance partner Shiv Sena, and the Maharashtra Navnirman Sena. Provincial capital Mumbai saw a large voter turnout, including several top Bollywood personalities. Actors Prem Chopra, Hema Malini, Isha Deol, Sonali Bendre, Kiran Kher, Shah Rukh Khan, Ranbir Kapoor, and lyricist Javed Akhtar were some of those who turned up to vote. Former Provincial State Chief Prithviraj Chavan also cast his vote. Federal Information Minister Prakash Javadekar, who exercised his franchise in Pune, expressed confidence in people voting for the BJP.
See, today people have voted with tremendous enthusiasm, even more enthusiasm than Lok Sabha. It's an unparalleled scene as far as the state assembly elections are concerned. If the Lok Sabha elections was doomed, this is doomed too. People are voting for good governance. People are voting for change. People are voting for decisive mandate in favor of BJP. And let me tell you, Maharashtra will have a single party rule, single party majority rule for the first time.
Northern Haryana is seeing a three-way fight between the ruling Congress Party, the Indian National Lok Dal and BJP. Provincial Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda, who was one of the first voters in his booth in Rohtak, was optimistic that his Congress Party will come back to power for a third consecutive term.
See, every election is like such, but this time Congress is strong and it is going to form government third time in Haryana.
Do you believe it is a fight between Congress and INND or BJP is also in the INND?
Whoever comes next, that is fight between INND and BJP, who comes second.
The federal ruling BJP is trying to come back to power in both the provinces after spending more than a decade in opposition. The elections are being seen as a test for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who led the BJP's campaign in both Maharashtra and Haryana. The results will be announced on Sunday.
The Hurriyat conference is using the name of Organization of Islamic Cooperation or OIC to raise funds in India's calamity-struck Jammu and Kashmir. This comes despite the Hurriyat getting any internal support from the Islamic group.
The moderate faction of Hurriyat conference had last month asked for OIC to formulate a joint strategy for rehabilitation of India's flooded Jammu and Kashmir. Hurriyat chairman Mirwaiz Umar Farooq had in a letter to OIC asked the grouping of Muslim nations to convene a donor conference including UN agencies and other international organizations. This, however, comes even as the Hurriyat conference has no support base in the OIC, which has more than 50 member countries including Pakistan, Turkey, Saudi Arabia and Nigeria. Hurriyat, which has the observer status in the Islamic group, however, has been using the name of OIC to collect funds ever since the recent floods inundated the Kashmir Valley.
In the name of public service and in the name of humanitarian service, it is collecting a lot of funds and it is misusing it as far as we are concerned, and in various ways, especially giving money to the people to carry out unrestricted activities which may not be legal as far as the law is concerned.
Leaders of all-party Hurriyat conference who were invisible when the disaster struck are now trying desperately to make up for the lost ground by collecting funds particularly from Islamic nations. But many believe the money gathered in the name of financial help during floods never reached the affected people and got siphoned off to channelize it towards funding separatist agenda in the region.
जहाँ तक सेपरेटिस्ट लोगों का ताल्लुक है, आप ये देखिए कि जो रिलीफ हमारे देश के मुख्तलिफ हिस्सों से आ रहा है, वही रिलीफ जो है लोगों से छीन कर, उन तंजीमों से लेकर ये क्लेम कर रहे हैं कि हम वो इनसे ये पूछा जाए कि ये जो रिलीफ मटेरियल है जिसका ये क्लेम कर रहे हैं कि हम लोगों में तकसीम कर रहे हैं, वो रिलीफ मटेरियल इनके पास कहाँ से आया, जबकि ये लोग पिछले 15-20 दिन जिसे कहते हैं, खुद कहते हैं कि हम लोग पानी में थे या दूसरे छत पे थे या तीसरे छत के ऊपर थे। तो ये सिर्फ ये जो इनका एक शुरू से एक सिलसिला रहा है कि लोगों को गुमराह करना।
The Hurriyat and Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front have been for years indoctrinating separatist ideologies among the Kashmiris and championed the so-called independence of the state from Indian domain. The money that they profess to collect for the Kashmiri cause often gets diverted towards holding anti-India rallies and conferences to inculcate hatred among the locals in the northern state.
The United Nations has decided to cut food rations to over 1 million in Afghanistan. The move comes in the light of increased world demand for aid, leading to the donations drying up.
Funding shortfall has forced the UN's World Food Programme to cut aid money in Afghanistan. The world body had on Tuesday declared to slash the food ration, signaling that the money may dwindle as the international combat mission winds down. The UN Food Assistance Agency, which runs on donations from member countries, faces a gap of about $30 million for its program in Afghanistan. The aid is likely to drop from 2,100 calories a day to 1,500 calories, affecting as many as 1 million people across the war-torn nation. This comes as the current year's UN humanitarian appeal for Afghanistan is already $158 million short of the $400 million target. The food body said the donors have become fatigued and are now focusing on other crises, including combating the latest Ebola virus and helping refugees from the wars in Syria and Iraq.
All of those emergencies, of course, are all having a toll on the capacity of the donors to provide Afghanistan and Afghanistan people with all they need. My key message here is really that people remember that Afghanistan must remain on the agenda. Afghanistan cannot be forgotten, not at this time.
The agency has only about 6 weeks left to deposit advanced stores of food meant to supply mountainous areas of Afghanistan. Nearly half of the population in the country has no access to food, clean drinking water and firewood. Those displaced because of the violence who are now living in Kabul's poorest quarters have asked the UN not to stop their food rations.
خواري وکړل شي موږ پر موږ تکلیف راځي پر موږ زحمت راځي دا اوس که د لاس ته خرګه کیږي سبا واوره کیږي باران کیږي یخونه راځي بوټي نه لرګي نه لرم.
Afghanistan has been the beneficiary of tens of billions of dollars in aid since 2001 when the Taliban regime was stumbled by a US-led invasion. The World Food Programme feeds a total of 3.7 million people in Afghanistan.
He may not be holding a cricket bat anymore, but he still manages to inspire millions. Sachin Tendulkar was in Bangladesh to launch the logo of Dhaka Premier League champions, Legends of Roopganj. Take a look.
Sachin Tendulkar unveiled the new logo of Legends of Roopganj, the team previously known as the Ghazi Tank Cricketers, at a glittering ceremony in capital Dhaka on Tuesday. The cricketing legend also posed for the cameras along with the country's Premier Division champions. Tendulkar was all praise for Bangladesh's craze for the game and its fans.
I'm fascinated by the response all the Bangladeshi crowd gets to all the touring teams and also the kind of support Bangladesh team enjoys. It is fantastic for the sport.
Tendulkar, who is the only cricketer ever to score 100 international centuries in the history of the game, recalled achieving the feat in Bangladesh. He thanked Bangladeshi fans for their support throughout his cricketing career.
All the love and respect that people from Bangladesh have showered upon me has made all the memories everlasting.
Tendulkar, who retired from all forms of international cricket last November, was also nominated to Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the Indian Parliament, in 2012. He was conferred the Bharat Ratna, the country's highest civilian honour, earlier this year.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Stakes running high as Maharashtra and Haryana vote to elect new provincial governments in India. UN cuts Afghanistan food rations as donations dry up. And Hurriyat collecting funds in name of OIC in India's flood-hit Jammu and Kashmir. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.